What? Okay, should Israel give land for peace? So the assumption is that if we give land, that we can receive peace. So if Israel can't receive peace, then obviously it's illogical to give land. So let's take a step back. Everybody is plagued by this question. How come Israel, which seems like the good guy and protects civilians and only goes after terrorists, is condemned by the world, whereas the Arabs seemingly are attacking innocent civilians and hiding behind human shields, and for some reason they get a pass? So the answer can be understood from a simple analogy. If a robber breaks into a home, then the homeowner, by law and any morality, will say that the homeowner has every right to attack that guy with everything he's got. He could shoot him unarmed, he could kick him below the belt, he could kick him from behind, anything, because that guy had no business being there. Whereas the robber, even if in self-defense, if he hurts the intruder, if he hurts the homeowner, then he's in the wrong because he shouldn't have been there. So we're told often that the settlements are the obstacle to peace. But really, from the perspective of the Arabs who do not believe that the Jews belong in Israel, every inch of Israel, from Tel Aviv to Eilat to Hebron, are all settlements. The whole country is a settlement. So going back to the robber analogy, if the robber says to the homeowner, whoa, let's make a deal. You go and you take the bedroom and I'll take the living room. The homeowner will not, in his right mind, take that deal. The homeowner might make an armistice, but only so that later he can actually kick the robber out. And so too, we believe that the country belongs to us. It's our country, and we have every right to establish a Jewish state there. But anybody who thinks that the Arabs will make peace doesn't respect the Arabs' claim to the land as well. They think that we are completely robbers and don't belong there. And therefore, they will never rest, no matter how much of the land that they have. So just on that basis alone, I don't think you should give a piece of land to Israel because it won't give any peace. So we should not give land for peace.
Rabbi Linder, you're up. Now.
You can take it off my tongue. So, the robber analogy is an interesting one because, and there's something flawed with it, and that is that you're dealing with individuals. Now, imagine for a second the block that you lived on. If there was a raid or something happened on your block, and then, like summer camp, you then go back and raid the block that attacked you. But instead of toilet papering them or putting shaving cream in their shoes, it's killing them. And this goes on for a few weeks where now, your whole neighborhood has taken factions. There is no doubt that the government would intervene to try and figure out a solution. And at some point, yes, somebody started it, but the truth is it doesn't matter anymore because we've gotten so lost in the anger and the hate that we've forgotten who to blame. We've only gotten caught up in who to blame and forgotten actually how to make it right. It reminds me, Gandhi would talk about the line, an eye for an eye, and say everybody would be blind, which our Torah says too, tzedek, tzedek tirdov, justice, justice you shall pursue. And the rabbis say, why is the word justice repeated twice? Because the idea, of course, being that every word is there perfectly and God placed it there, which we'll talk about in a second, for an incredible depth of meaning. It's listed there a second time because when we pursue justice, we have to pursue justice with justice. The ends do not justify the means in Judaism. As for a claim to land, absolutely. We do have a claim to that land. I love Israel. I've been there 4 times. I lived there for a year, my first year in rabbinical school. Unbelievable experience. It's an absolute huge part of my core identity. That being said, the Arabs would say the exact same thing. And their claim is based on religion, just like our claim is based on religion. And do I know who's right? No. And nothing is scarier than being absolutely convinced that you're right. And so it's not a question of giving land for peace, it's giving land for security. A few minutes there, Kevin.
All right, cross-examination. Starting now.
So you say security. Is it more secure, in your estimation, to live in a land that's 9 miles wide and the enemy has the high ground? Or is it more secure to have more land and buffer zones?
It reminds me of something my mom sadly still says to me, which is, it's better to be nice than right. Might we be right?
Is it better to be nice than alive?
But by being nice, it's actually going to serve our utilitarian needs of security and peace. We're not doing it just because it's the right thing to do. We're doing it because it's also the safe thing to do that will work. Look, we've been trying it elsewise since 48, and that hasn't really gotten us anywhere.
I would argue that that hasn't been, the policy pretty much has been this since 48. Okay, justice. Do you consider it justice that if it's on land...
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
So, let's assume for a second that there would actually, obviously you can't believe, know that there would be peace if we gave land. There absolutely would be. Would you still be against?
Rather good, you can answer the question.
Can I ask that question? You see, that's a theoretical question. That the idea that I'm saying is that there's no peace as long as there's a sovereign Jewish state. And to not accept that the Arabs believe that is to really condescend to them and to not acknowledge their national pride.
Okay. Now you're on.
Okay. First of all, the comment of I'd rather be nice than right, I think that I can't agree with that. I think that that maybe works with children or in a circumstance where we're talking about something that's not life-threatening. But personally, I would rather be mean than dead or homeless in this case. When you talk about justice, this is a case of justice. If the land belongs to us, if everyone belongs to us, which is on the chopping block, when we read 2,000 years ago, it was bought by Abraham and it remained with us, and there was a contiguous Jewish presence for 2,000 years until the Jews were massacred and thrown out in 1929. They came back in 1967. So what is justice? That we should never be able to live in that land because we're making a compromise? That's not justice. That, I believe, is giving in to a bully. I think that those who believe that if we cede land and everything will be okay, once again, I'm going to repeat this, I think it's really a condescending attitude towards the Arabs, and it doesn't respect their national pride. They're not upset that they're missing this piece of land. They're upset that the Jews kicked them out of what they consider their land. Think about an Israeli Arab who lives there right now. An Israeli Arab, he has to sing a hatikva, which is his national anthem, where he puts his hand out on his heart and puts his chest out and says, "The soul of the Jew yearns," right? And for the dream of 2,000 years. They don't agree with that. That's not theirs. They have to wave an Israeli flag that reminds them every day of their defeat. They have to celebrate Yom HaAtzmaut. We celebrate Yom HaAtzmaut. You know what they call it? They call it Nakba Day, which means essentially Holocaust Day. They view the victory in 1948 as a Holocaust. They're not going to be happy because we give them a part of the land. They will only be happy when there's all the land. Therefore, there cannot be peace if we only give them a piece.
Just seems that then there's no way to win. Because if we don't give them land, they won't be happy. But if we do give them land, it's condescending. And I don't see how something's condescending if that's what the other party wants. What's condescending is for me to tell you that I'm being condescending. In other words, the Arabs, this is what they've wanted. This is what they've told Israel that they want. So for us to say it's condescending, it's patronizing for us to tell them what they should even want. Aside from that, nothing good ever came from not talking to an enemy. Whether you think about friends, boyfriends, girlfriends, anything. When you get in a fight with someone and you just stop talking to them and ignoring them, nothing good comes from that. I'm not saying that we should all be friends and hold hands and sing Kumbaya, but I am saying that there is something to be gained in dialogue with them. And to call them the enemy is also extreme. I've been to the West Bank. When I was in Israel, I spent a day there, went to one of the refugee camps, talked to some of the Arabs there. They all do not believe that Israel shouldn't exist. They all do not believe or want us all to be decimated or destroyed. They want homes for their children just like we do. If you can see a movie, it was on HBO, it still might be on demand, To Die in Jerusalem. It's a documentary about an Arab family and an Israeli family who both lost daughters in an attack. And how the hurt it's not one-sided. The pain, the suffering, it is on both sides. And we need to find a solution that will make both sides, first, A, talk to each other, and then B, decide on some sort of compromise that will give both secure homes and hopefully lasting peace.